Have you ever been there, stuck in some emotional pattern that you can see happening, but you just can't seem to stop? You're smart, you can even explain the pattern to your friends, but in the moment, you're just hijacked. Well, today, we're going to dive into the hidden logic behind why that actually happens.
I love this quote because it gets right to the heart of what we're talking about. Think about that reaction you judge so harshly in yourself. From the outside, yeah, maybe it looks irrational. But from the inside, in that split second, it feels like the only thing you can do. It feels necessary. And that feeling, that's the key to understanding, not just judging. So, this brings us to this really frustrating thing I call the insight trap. This is for anyone out there who's highly insightful. You get yourself, you've done the work, but you still get completely taken over by old reactions when the pressure's on.
Does any of this sound familiar? That sudden, overwhelming wave? The urge to control a situation, or to jump in and rescue someone? Or maybe for you, it's the urge to just shut down completely, to prove yourself, or even to just, get smaller, to try and disappear from the room. These aren't just little thoughts, are they? They're powerful, automatic forces that just grab at the steering wheel.
And this, right here, is the absolute core of the trap. You're aware. You can see the pattern unfolding in real time. You might even be narrating it in your head as it happens, but you feel totally powerless to stop it. Man, that is such a frustrating place to be. But what if the problem isn't that you're broken? Yeah, what if you're not actually broken? This is the central idea we're digging into here. Your reaction isn't a glitch. It is not a sign that you're flawed. It has a hidden logic. And that logic, almost always, is about protection. It's trying to do something for you. So this is the big shift we need to make in our internal dialogue. We have to move from that place of shame and confusion, that old question, oh, why am I like this? And move towards genuine curiosity. What is this reaction trying to do for me? We're literally swapping self-attack for pattern recognition. And trust me, that simple change is everything. This question is the absolute key. It unlocks the entire pattern. See, instead of fighting the reaction or shaming it, we just get curious about its purpose. What's it defending? What deep down need is it trying to meet? What danger does it think it's trying to save you from? Okay, but how do we actually answer a question like that? It's a great question, but we need a tool, a framework, and that's exactly where the 4-part map comes in. Think of it as a simple, structured way to decode the hidden logic of any reaction you have. Let's just walk right through it. Number 1, the trigger. What was the thing that happened that set it all off? Number 2, the adaptation. What did your system do automatically in response? That's that urge we talked about earlier. Number 3, and this one is crucial, the cost. Here we look at both sides. What was the pattern trying to protect, and what did that protection actually cost you? And finally, number 4, mastery. This is where we start to ask, what would a more regulated, more intentional response even look like? Theory is great, but let's make this real. We're going to apply this 4-part map to a really common example, getting defensive when you get some vague criticism. This just lays it out perfectly. On the surface, right, what people see might look like arrogance or being overly sensitive, but the hidden logic tells a totally different story. The trigger was that unclear feedback. The adaptation was to defend or shut down. And the protective aim? Well, it was trying to preserve your dignity, your clarity, your sense of safety. But, and here's the kicker, look at the cost. Conflict, shame, exhaustion, and you miss the chance to learn anything. See the difference? It's not a character flaw. It's a protective pattern that just comes with a really high price tag. So understanding the pattern is a huge first step. It's massive, but it's not the last one. The path to real change, to mastery, requires us to hold the entire picture in our minds at once, without flinching. Just think about this for a second. If you only focus on the negative stuff, the conflict it causes, the shame you feel, the opportunities you lose, you're naturally going to hate that part of yourself. You'll try to shame it or crush it, and we all know how well that works. But there is another trap waiting on the other side. If you only look at the protective aim, telling yourself, well, I was just trying to protect my dignity, you can end up justifying that behavior forever. You never have to take responsibility for the damage it's doing to you or your relationships. Real growth lives in the balance. It happens when you can hold both of these truths at the very same time. You have to respect the part of you that was trying to help, to acknowledge its protective logic. And You have to be brutally honest with yourself about the real-world cost of that pattern. That's how we escape that endless cycle of shame and justification.
So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Think about the one reaction in yourself that you judge the most harshly, the one that makes you cringe just thinking about it. Using what we've talked about today, what core need, what vulnerability, what piece of yourself might it be so desperately trying to protect? Answering that question with curiosity instead of judgment, well, that's the beginning of mastery.